Tiger fans, what's going on, guys? So, I was 100% dead ass wrong about how this series with Tampa Bay was going to go. I thought that the Tigers were going to go into Tampa Bay and not stand a chance in hell and even taking a split. I was amazed at the results of this series. So, let's get a couple things out of the way first. So, Baseball Banter. I used to do a podcast. God, had to be 13, 14, maybe even 15. I can't remember. But I used to do a podcast for a little while. It was called Baseball Banter. And I think I made close to 60 episodes of it. It was 50 or 60 episodes. And basically what Baseball Banter was, it was a podcast with me and this one guy who I used to be friends with. Him and I haven't talked in years. I've tried to re-talk to him and rekindle whatever relationship we had. Well, I don't know what his problem is, but me and this guy named Mike Hewitt, we used to do a podcast called Baseball Banter. I haven't done it in a long time. Basically what it was a general baseball podcast where I talked about more than just the Tigers, and I want to get into be able to do that because we only have a few games left. And the Tigers are 72 and 76. I'm really hoping that, they go 79 and 82. That would be great to finish the season. But I still want to continue to make content even with the Tigers being done, because the offseason stuff isn't going to start for a few more weeks. Plus, the winter, you'll have the general managers meeting and then the winter meetings and all that stuff. So it's not going to really have anything to talk about content-wise. And I still want to try to do a video a week, even in the offseason. I don't know. So I'm going to bring it back, though. I'm going to do it by myself for a little bit. I am working on trying to find someone to do it with me. It's kind of hard. I don't really know how I can do it because how YouTube used to work, they used to have they had Google Hangouts and you could record them, but you can't do that anymore. And I can't even live broadcast because I don't have 1,000 subscribers. So I don't know how I'm going to do this and whatnot when I finally get someone that can do it with me, because listening to me, if you want someone to tell you your videos suck without telling you your videos suck, go look at my views on my videos since I've been back for the last couple months. The most views I got is 100. Now, mind you, I don't promote my videos. I don't post them on Twitter like I used to anymore. I don't post them in Tigers groups like I used to anymore. I don't really care. I do this because, besides my younger brother, I have no one really to talk baseball with. And this is my chance to rant to you guys so I don't even know and interact with you guys. So I enjoy that. So Baseball Banter is coming back. So to get things out of the way, well, let's talk about the series. So we come into Tampa Bay. Like I said, I thought the Tigers were just going to come in and get shit wrecked because the Rays, they've been playing kind of meh, but they're kind of coasting into the playoffs. They got such a big lead in the AL East that there's really no rush or urgency for them to really do anything. And they don't have a rotation where they're trying to get guys set for the postseason because they have openers and so many guys in their pen and how they rotate their stuff. And besides Glass now being hurt, he would be for sure their one. They'd try to be getting lined up for the first series of the playoffs, but he's not there. He's hurt. So coming to Tampa, I didn't think they'd have a chance. I know what the Tigers did when they played Tampa in Detroit, but in the Trop, the Rays have, been playing kind of meh. I thought for sure they were going to get swept or maybe take 1 of 4. So game 1, the Tigers lose 5-2. Tyler Alexander pitched, and he pitched pretty well. He has done such good work. The Tigers have done such a nice job with some of the pitching talent they found this year. One thing I can honestly say, this is A.J. Hinch being a manager. I've never saw someone even Jim Leland wasn't that good of a bullpen manager, or, he had some good people. He always was able to put Justin Verlander out there every 5th day. And especially after 2011, when the Tigers developed that rotation that he got to use for the last few years of his managing career, when he had JV, Max Scherzer, Anibal, Pfister, Rick Porcello. He was able to trot those guys out there for a few years before he was done. But even earlier on, Jim Leland he still had JV, Kenny Rogers there for a couple years. Jeremy Bonderman was okay. So but the back end of the guy, Nate Robertson and Jared Washburn, and then they had so many other weird guys like Alfredo Figueroa. They had so many weird starters. But my point is with AJ Hinch, and you could see the Tigers analytics department really developing over the last few years, because that was one of the things that they really wanted to do and put emphasis on growing in this rebuild, was really building their analytics department. They've done a very, very nice job, and AJ Hinch in particular, at really getting the most out of the talent that's on this team. And that's one thing that I've harped on Gardenhire's tenure here, and I was critical of the Gardenhire hiring, because they had lost. Gardenhire was a crappy manager at the end of the back end of his days with the Twins, and he was a crappy manager with the Tigers. He was too old school, even though he was like, I'm analytics now. And I understand the team that they gave him wasn't that great, but the team they gave Hinch wasn't that great. The only difference is now some of these bigger name prospects are here, and they're contributing to the everyday team and the everyday lineup, particularly Mize, Manning, and Skubal. But they still handed Hinch a team that lost 100 games last year, and this year Hinch is going to have them knocking on the doorstep of 500 with, basically the same talent that Gardenhire had. And the biggest difference is, to me, is putting these guys in the right spots at the right time and really allowing them to develop and succeed. For example, the emergence of Tyler Alexander. He's been a long guy out of the bullpen. He was coming out and getting some big outs in situations. He was your long guy who was doing a good job, could eat up 2-3 innings and do a good job of holding over. Now he's come out, had quite a few 5-inning starts since he's been over the last month and a half. He had that one tremendous start where I think we pitched 7 innings. He's done a great job, and you can't even begin to give AJ Hinch enough credit for the development of this bullpen that they have. The Tigers, they have not had a good bullpen I can remember in my lifetime. Like, even the years where they went to the World Series in 6 and 12. So, like, 06, they had Joel Zamaya and Fernando Rodney and Bobby C. and Clay Rapata. And who else did they have back in there? I can't even remember. But they had basically a meh bullpen. They were able to mix and match and get through basically what they needed to do, because they had such a good defensive. They had a great team that year in 06. I mean, whether it was, Craig Monroe, Brandon Inger's first half, the emergence of Justin Verlander's rookie year, where he won Rookie of the Year, Kenny Rogers being a guy, Carlos Guillen, Magler Ordonez, but that team still had an bullpen. It really helped that Joel Zamaya was a stud rookie and could throw 103. And then you look at 2012, did not have a good bullpen. They got there solely on the fact that, Miguel Cabrera, Triple Crown guy, Prince Fielder, was a stud that year. They had a lot of good hitters, but they were just a bunch of big boppers that were base-to-base guys, with the bullpen being their biggest weakness. Now, that year, Valverde went 49 for 49 in the regular season. But it was basically Benoit and Valverde, and that was it. They didn't really have a lot of other depth. Now, with this Hinch team this year, you can't talk enough about him even with his crappier guys. So take a look at today. Fulmer, before I get too far ahead of myself, before we get in today, let's get into Game 3. So Game 3 was a game that they should have won. So all the important stuff you need to know: 9th inning, Gregory Soto comes out, and he gets hit in the hand with a ball. Now, mind you, Gregory Soto already had like 11, 12 pitches. He was kind of erratic, already gave up a base hit. Gets hit in the hand with a ball, and Hinch comes out. He says he's okay, blah, 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 and he lets him stays in another batter. Michael Fulmer comes out, and that was the ball game. Michael Fulmer comes out, and Brett Phillips, they hit a 3-run homer, and then in the 9th inning and the 10th inning, the Tigers couldn't do anything. It was a terrible base running mistake by who was it? Nico Goodrum getting chucked out at third. Or no, it was Alex Reyes getting chucked out at third. So that erased that. And then Brett Phillips comes up in the bottom of the 10th. And that dude, of all people, hits a walk-off 3-run homer. So Soto gets hurt, which absolutely sucks because he's been so good. I know he's had a lot of walks this year, but his consistency, he's gotten the job done more so than not. I mean, he's only blown a couple of saves. I mean, this game where he got hurt and had the bases loaded when Fulmer came in, and then Fulmer gave up the lead, and then oh no, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Anyways, but then Fulmer came in and gave up the lead, and then Brett Phillips hits the walk-off home run in the inning ahead in the 10th inning. Soto's only had a couple of bad innings. I mean, he's had this one, and then he's been pretty money. And then he had that other game where I forget who we were playing against, but he gave up a grand slam. It was to the Angels, where Joe Adell hit a grand slam off of him. That's really been his only two extremely bad outings from, I want to say, July till now. I mean, he's been Mr. Consistent. So now that he's gone, that really puts a void in the Tigers' bullpen. So yesterday, Michael Fulmer had to come on, and this was an intense game. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I just got to watch the 9th inning, or the 7th inning and up. Michael Fulmer comes out, and he had command issues really, really bad. Ends up getting a strikeout. I forget who he strikes out, and then gets a big double play. The Tigers ended up holding off the Rays, and the Rays are like one of the best teams in the MLB from the 7th inning and on, coming back. If you look at like win percentage and comeback percentage from the 7th to 9th inning, the Rays are either first or second and all that stuff. They are just one of the hardest teams to come down. I thought yesterday when Fulmer came out, I was like, with 2 on, I'm like, there's just no chance in hell the Tigers are going to take this game. No chance in hell. And he got that big double play. So my point now, that we could tie that into today, with Soto being hurt, and now Fulmer already pitched out, and my point with A.J. Hinch is he's done such a good job at putting these guys in the right places at the right time. So if you look at today, he had Derek Holland out there in a 2-0 game. Ended up getting a couple of big outs in the 8th inning. Scary because, Derek Holland, his ERA is high. His fastball and his knuckle curve has looked a lot better, and his fastball command's been a lot better too. I will give him that. That's been a big difference from earlier on this year when he was getting hurt, and then his ERA being as flat as it was. So he's been getting outs, bigger outs lately. He's been doing a good job of that. So he came out, got 2 innings, and then he brought in Lang. Now Lang, 2 consecutive wild pitches. I have no idea how he even got out of this inning. 2 consecutive wild pitches, 2 outs, put the walk to hit the hitter, had the tying run on base. Dustin Garneau, absolute MVP of this game. Absolute MVP. Haas this game hits a bomb. Then Dustin Garneau, who is not known at all for his bat, already has 5 home runs since the Tigers recalled him, hits a big home run, gets him up 2-0. And what does he do this game? He throws out 2 base runners. Nabs Randy Arozarena. Kevin Kiermaier's on base. He's got speed. And he throws him out and absolutely bailed out Alex Lang to get him out of this game. And the Tigers eventually went on and, with Kyle Funkhouser in the 9th, won the game. It took a split. Excuse me. They should have took 3 of 4. Because that game with Soto, I really wish after he got hit, Hinch wouldn't have let him face another hitter. He just took him out and let Fulmer come in, because I feel like if you let Fulmer come in with one less hitter on the base pass, it would have been 1 instead of 2 guys. I feel like they might have had a better chance of winning it instead of letting Soto go out there and keep trying when he already got hit and his command was already erratic. But back to the original point. For Hinch to now lose his closer, his best reliever, but still come out today, able to put Derek Holland in the right place, and he got a couple big outs. Lang got bailed out, but who would have known him? And then the emergence of Kyle Funkhouser. This is a guy that he always had so many issues with walks, because him and Babe Burrows were like the big guys for the prospects before, like the Riley Greens and the Mannings and the Torkelsons. It was him and Funkhouser, Jonathan Crawford, and why am I blanking on his name? But these Babe Burrows, those were like the guys that were supposed to be the next Tigers dudes. And typical Dombrowski profile, big right-hander that throws hard. But he can never throw strikes. That's why he's a reliever now. And for Hinch to get what he's got out of this bullpen with the talent that he's had, he's developed something where you could see coming into next year, the Tigers are a team you don't want to play because they've played these good teams tough. You look at all these series that they've played against playoff contending teams, whether it's been Oakland, whether it's been Tampa, whether it's been Boston, whether it's been New York. They've played all these teams extremely tough. And it's kind of weird because the teams they haven't played tough are like when they played the Pirates and they got 2 or 3 took from them. But a lot of it has to do with the development that Hinch has done, because it's not like years past where you got to hope the starter goes 7 and you got your 2 best guys in the back. It's getting to the point now where the Tigers bullpen has developed into such a weapon that all you need is 6 out of them, because Funkhouser's getting it done. Cisneros getting it done. Michael Fulmer's getting it done. Gregory Soto's getting it done. Like I said, Derek Holland's been pitching better as of late. And then Brian Garcia, then you got your other guys like Brian Garcia and whoever else they throw back there, that they've rotated from Toledo and whatnot. But for the main part, 4 out of their 7 guys are pitching phenomenally well. And we've never had that, like I said, since I can remember, since the Tigers have been good in 06. They've never had that many relievers that they've been able to piece together where you can go and give this guy a blow, give this guy a day off, and you're not worrying about getting in later innings and then having to hold a lead because you're like, oh, shit. Well, Jose Valverde's down today, and Joaquin Benoit doesn't pitch well in the 9th inning. Let's see what he can do. Like years past when he was a closer and whatnot like that. Now it's like, well, Soto needs a blow. We got Michael Fulmer for the 9th. And now it's like, well, Soto's hurt. We got Kyle Funkhouser, and him and Fulmer can go. He got his first career save. Now him and Fulmer will go back and forth and, get saves in the 9th inning while, Hinch really picks and chooses where to put these other guys. Because now, for the last couple weeks of the season, he's got to really feel out his spots to put these other dudes, because these other dudes like Lang and Holland and whatnot, they're not like the high leverage guys, but they're going to be put in more of a spots of high leverage and a situation where Hinch will figure out where they'll succeed, and he'll play his matchups well, because that's just what he does. That's the biggest difference from last year and the Gardenhire era to this year with Hinch. He is just such a good manager at putting guys in the right place at the right time. And they sometimes fail? Absolutely, that's baseball. But you know something? He's been, more times than not this season, he has put these guys in the right place at the right time and given the Tigers the best opportunity to win, and their record reflects it. They're almost back in 2nd place. They're only 6 games under 500, and the Tigers have developed something in-house, of all things, that they haven't had. And it's the biggest reason why they don't have 2 rings right now from 06 and 12 is a bullpen. And it's insane to think about what they've developed and what they could be next year, because this Tigers team, like I said, they played good teams tough, very, very tough, and they're a team that you don't want to see down the stretch. Like they're coming home and they're gonna play the White Sox, and the White Sox have been playing a little bit better as of late, but they've kind of coasted because of how crappy the AL Central's been. They really haven't had to play, but the Tigers could take a split or take the series from them, because the Tigers played very well at home, and another thing that you got to give Hinch credit for is now he's had to have bullpen days because of Skubal and Mize are only going 3 innings apiece for the rest of the year. And, he's relying on Jose Urania to do the job. And surprisingly enough, Urania has been an okay reliever. But it's just been so awesome to watch him give these guys opportunities and then succeed, because we actually have a manager that's putting the guys in the right place at the right time and putting the right talent on the field, and not just putting them out there because they're a veteran with the most experience and that's all he's got. That's the biggest difference. And the Tigers, another big difference from this year to last year and under the Gardenhire era, the Tigers do have a couple games a week where they have some really bad innings. They got a lot of defensive blunders, but this team defensively this year has been way better overall as a whole. Because when Gardenhire was running Nico out there every single day at short and second, he couldn't make a freaking throw. And a lot of that has to do with, how consistent Candelario's been at third. And, Scope is just really good at either second or first. Like, you could put him out there and he's perfectly fine. And how good the outfield defense has been because of Derek Hill, and Daz Cameron doesn't hurt you with the glove and whatnot out there either. And Robbie Grossman is a pretty consistent defender out there. And Akil Baddoo, you can put him anywhere and he just gets the job done. And he's just done such a good job with the development of all these young dudes and getting the most out of them. Like Eric Haas coming out of nowhere, he got a shot and he came out and has just done great work. I think he's got 23 home runs and just the catching position this year no longer being a void. It didn't matter who he's put out there so far this year. Jake Rogers was having a power surge before he got hurt. Now he needs Tommy John. But Eric Haas and now Dustin Garneau hitting 5 home runs already in his limited time with the Tigers. And a lot of this, it's like I said, to do with Hinch and putting him out in the right time. And a nice thing that Hinch does that I absolutely love is Hinch gives Haas a lot of time to not only be behind the plate to help save his legs. He puts him out in left field. And it really helps keep his legs fresh and help his bat. It's just his work this year cannot be understated or overstated enough about how good of a job he's done as the Tigers manager and the development of this team. And the Tigers next year, they might not be a playoff team. But I think next year they could battle for a wild card spot because they've done such a good job this year at playing these good teams tough, and they've done such a good job this year from being a 100-loss team to, a close to a 500 team. Now, mind you, last year was the COVID-shortened season. I know this, but they would have been a 100-loss team on the pace they were going last year. Just it is what it is. So, excuse me. So, that's all I got for you guys today. So, like I said, the Tigers they're playing Chicago for 3. Then they have an off day on Thursday, and then they play KC for 3 before they go on the road one last time. So I'll be back next Sunday for a video, and then the first baseball banter will be right before the playoffs start. I'm going to go over series by series and give some predictions and preview it up a little bit, talk about who I like and who I don't like and some of the players and whatnot. But yeah, hell of a series split by the Tigers. They should have took 3 or 4, but awesome work by Hinch. And last but not least, I don't want to forget this. Isaac Paredes and who else did they call up? It was Isaac and Daz Cameron have been recalled for the Soto because Derek Hill got hurt. I forgot to mention that in the third game of that series. He hurt his knee hitting G-Man Choi. So Isaac will place in third. Maybe they'll put him at second. I don't know. The story of Isaac been the same every time he comes up. I say, dude has hit at every single level he's been in, but he can't hit in the major leagues. His swings his last couple times up this year, because he's been up a couple times, have looked a lot better. He almost had a couple walk-off home runs. He hit a couple balls to the wall at Comerica Park, but they got caught, obviously. So his swings looked better, but just the results aren't there. He's able to hit at every level but the big leagues. So here's to hoping. And then Daz Cameron will probably be a bench bat. Maybe play every couple days or so because of the Tigers just got a loaded outfield and they've been giving Victor Reyes a lot more bats, and you still got Robbie Grossman and Akil Baddoo. You got to give Eric Haas a blow from behind the plate because Garneau's been hitting a little bit, and Garneau's a much better defensive catcher than Eric Haas. Eric Haas seems to have a really hard time blocking balls. I don't know what that is. He's just not that good of a defensive catcher. He sucks at blocking breaking balls. He's allowed a couple of pass balls already, and I don't know. Dustin Garneau is a much better catcher. You go watch his 9th inning today, or his 8th inning when, Lang was on the mound. Some of the stops he made when Lang was extremely wild was insane. Eric Haas wouldn't have made that. I love Eric Haas, but he cannot block breaking balls. He's not a good catcher behind the plate. So, but yeah, Isak and Daz is back. So those guys, bench depth, they're not really going to uproot anyone. They'll probably get a couple ABs, a couple games started down the stretch. So they just need someone there. So that's all I got for you guys today. Have a good one. Go Tigers. See you next week.